You're tired. Maybe you don't even understand why, but you feel it deep in your bones, an invisible weight that never leaves. Like it's your job to hold everything together, to be the peacemaker, the one who's always polite, always calm, always kind. Since childhood, you were told, be a good person and everything will work out. That kindness would always be rewarded. That fairness, humility, and honesty would earn you love and respect. But what if that was never true? What if it was just a convenient lie? One that kept you small, easy to manage, easy to ignore. Think back. How many times have you swallowed your words just to avoid disappointing someone? How often have you smiled while someone crossed your boundaries? How many times have you stayed silent just to keep the peace? Let's be honest, the world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards strategy. It rewards power. And if you've ever felt that sting of being overlooked, disrespected, or dismissed while trying to do the right thing, then you already know what I'm talking about. Trying to be the nice one has only brought you pain. You give more, and people demand more. You try to be understanding, and they treat you as weak. The harder you try to be accepted, the less you are respected. And this is where Machiavelli's wisdom becomes more relevant than ever. No, he wasn't evil. He was one of the first to tell the raw truth about how the world really works. He exposed what most people are afraid to admit, that morality without power is often a trap. That being seen as good is not the same as being respected. This video is not about becoming cold or cruel. It's about waking up. It's about seeing clearly for the first time that the world isn't fair, and being virtuous isn't enough. As long as you're trying to please everyone, you're handing them the power to use, discard, and forget you. So if you're tired of being the one who's always nice, always the emotional doormat, always invisible, then it's time to shift. It's time to learn what you were never taught: how to act with strength, how to speak with clarity, how to stand up for yourself without losing your heart. Because yes, there's a way to do both. And if this message is resonating with you even a little, then hit that subscribe button, like this video, and turn on the notification bell. This is not just a video. This is the start of a transformation. Let's go deeper. Look around. Who gets respected? Who leads? Who influences? Is it the kindest, the most generous, or is it the ones who are confident, strategic, and impossible to manipulate? Machiavelli wrote The Prince not to create villains but to show how power works in reality. One of his harshest truths was this: being good is not enough. You can dedicate your whole life to being loyal, honest, and helpful. But the moment you're no longer useful, you'll be replaced, forgotten, and the worst part, no one will feel guilty about it. Because the world doesn't measure your worth by your goodness, it measures it by your effectiveness, by the impact you make, by the boundaries you set. Notice something: the nice ones are always explaining themselves, apologizing, justifying. But those who set clear limits, they don't need to explain. They're respected. Why? Because unfiltered kindness without strength is seen as weakness. And those who never challenge the status quo are never seen as a threat. And if you're not a threat, you're not respected. You're used. Harsh, yes, but real. Machiavelli once said that a leader should not focus on being loved, but on being feared if forced to choose between the two. What he meant wasn't about cruelty. He meant that respect comes from strength, from presence, from the willingness to act, to protect yourself, to draw a line in the sand. This applies to you. If you keep living to be accepted by others, you'll always be easy to discard. Not because you're a bad person, but because the world doesn't reward those who erase themselves. So let me ask you, when will you stop trying to be liked and start choosing to be respected? You weren't born trying to please everyone. That behavior was taught. Worse, it was conditioned. Since childhood, you were trained to believe that being accepted came with a price. You had to give something up, a part of yourself, your truth, your voice. You were told, don't be difficult, be nice, don't argue, don't talk back. So you adjusted. You held back your opinions. You swallowed your anger. You smiled when you didn't mean it. You said yes when your heart was screaming no. And slowly, you disappeared. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. You became a version of yourself that exists only to make others comfortable. But here's the truth. That's not kindness. That's fear. The fear of being rejected. The fear of being unloved. The fear of being called selfish or difficult or too much. And this fear has shaped your entire identity. It's turned you into someone who doubts themselves. Someone who apologizes for having needs. Someone who gives more than they receive and then wonders why they feel so empty. You call it empathy, but it's fear of confrontation. You call it understanding, but it's fear of abandonment. You call it kindness, but it's fear of not being enough. Your kindness has become a mask, an unconscious strategy to avoid pain. But this mask comes at a high price. It suffocates your authenticity, your power, your dignity. And if you don't take it off, it will become your identity. One day, you'll look in the mirror and see a stranger, a version of yourself shaped entirely by what others expected from you. But it doesn't have to stay that way. There's a way back. There's a path to reclaim who you are, your truth, your voice, your presence. But to walk that path, you need to learn from someone who understood this deeply. Machiavelli. Machiavelli saw what most people deny. That power is perception. That people don't respond to your heart, they respond to your presence, your strength, your limits. In the next section, we're going to get to the core of what the prince can teach you about reclaiming your strength without losing your humanity. But first, I want you to reflect on this. How many times have you betrayed yourself just to be liked? And was it worth it? If this message speaks to you, it's time to go deeper. Click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Not just to support the space, but to commit to your own growth. You've spent too long pretending. It's time to come back to yourself. Let's talk about reality. You've tried to be a good person hoping that your morals, your integrity, your honesty would be enough. That if you kept doing the right thing, people would eventually see your value. But Machiavelli warned us more than 5 centuries ago that this is a dangerous illusion. In the real world, it's not the most virtuous who win. It's the most effective. And effectiveness requires strategy. It requires understanding that people don't act based on your goodness, they act based on what they can gain, what they fear, and how they perceive you. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." That quote cuts deep. It reveals the illusion we've been sold that authenticity alone earns respect. It doesn't. You might be just, kind, fair. But if you appear weak, the world will treat you as weak. You might have a heart full of compassion, but if you don't project presence and strength, you'll be ignored. And that's why Machiavelli says, the prince, the one who wants to lead, to live on his own terms, must learn to play both roles. He must be the fox, who sees the traps, and the lion, who makes others think twice before attacking. You must be both, be wise enough to sense manipulation, strong enough to stand your ground, kind enough to act with heart, but never so naive that your kindness becomes a weapon used against you. This is what true virtue is. Not what moralists preach, but what life demands. A balance between courage, intelligence, and self-respect. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself and others is to say no, to walk away, to stand firm. And sometimes, yes, appearing cold is the only way to protect what matters. Machiavelli didn't hate virtue. He hated blind virtue, because in a world full of predators, kindness without strength is not noble. It's bait. You've lived through this. You've been the one who forgave too fast, gave too much, waited too long. And what did it get you? Injustice, silence, disappointment. People don't always play fair hand. If you keep pretending they do, you will keep losing. This doesn't mean you throw away your values. It means you stop letting them chain you. It means you start acting with power, with awareness, with presence. So now ask yourself, is your kindness protecting you or exposing you? Is it lifting you up or quietly destroying you? Because if your version of being good means tolerating disrespect, accepting crumbs, and blaming yourself for feeling angry, then you're not being good. You're being dominated. And that can change today. In the next part, we'll go even further. I'll show you how to stop being nice without becoming cold. How to reclaim your power without betraying your essence. But for now, take a breath, reflect, and if this resonates with your journey, subscribe, like, and share it. Because there are millions of people living in this same emotional prison and you might be the one to open the door. Let's get brutally honest. How long will you keep sacrificing your peace, your voice, and your dignity just to maintain an image? An image that was never really yours to begin with, but one that others created for their own comfort. You've played the role, the calm one, the polite one, the selfless one. You've smiled through disappointment. You've bent until you almost broke. And for what? This isn't virtue. It's not strength. It's a prison. A quiet, decorated prison where you're praised for being harmless, for never challenging anyone, for always being the one who gives in. But here's something most people are too afraid to say. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to thank you for all the times you stay quiet, for all the times you put yourself last. No one is going to hand you the respect you deserve while you keep begging for crumbs. As long as you allow yourself to be used, there will always be someone willing to use you. That's not malice, it's human nature. So today, you have a choice. You can continue living as the version of yourself designed by fear, always pleasing, always agreeable, always anxious about what others will think. Or you can wake up. You can choose to let go of the need for approval. You can decide that your kindness will no longer be a collar around your neck but a gift you offer when you choose, not when others demand. You can choose to protect your peace, to act with clarity, to stand firm without guilt. Because the truth is simple. The world respects those who respect themselves. And that kind of respect, it starts with you. So ask yourself, when was the last time you said no and didn't apologize for it? When was the last time you put yourself first without guilt? When was the last time you made a decision that honored your truth regardless of how others would react? Tell me in the comments. Let this be a moment of reflection. Let this be your turning point. Let this be the spark that wakes up someone else too. Because you're not alone in this. There are thousands, millions of people trapped in the same cycle. And you might be the voice they need to hear. And if this video opened your eyes, if it helped you see yourself differently, then don't leave without doing something simple but powerful. Click subscribe, like this video, turn on the notification bell. This journey isn't over, it's just beginning. And the next video, you don't want to miss it. Your freedom starts here, not by changing who you are, but by finally having the courage to be all of who you are. No more pretending, no more shrinking, no more waiting. It's time to choose. Do you want to be loved, or do you want to be free? Because the day you stop asking for permission to exist is the day you finally become unstoppable.